Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse DC vs. Vampires Damian Wayne Robin. This is a gold label Walmart exclusive. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Jules and his toys from Instagram. He made a post where he found these things. I messaged him, asked would he mind picking up a couple for me. He said no problem. He went and got them the next day, shipped them out immediately, really smooth, much appreciated. I'll post a link to his Instagram in the description below. So let's take a look at the package. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus. It's a McFarlane Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Amazon or GameStop or Target. This particular Gold Label is a Walmart exclusive, which are the hardest to get. That's why I always had to message people to help me. My Walmarts never get them. If they do, it's 2 months later. DC Multiverse, Robin. Here he is in the package. He has a sword, 6 hands, display stand, collector's card, and then a wooden stake for vampire killing. Although he's a vampire, so I'm not sure why he's armed with that. One side of the package, Robin from DC vs. Vampires. Other side, somebody says Robin at the bottom. Bunch of credits, his barcode. And on the back, here's Vampire Damian Wayne from the comics. So no further ado, let's open him up. And of course, I did get 2 of these figures. One of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. Here's a look at my entire DC vs. Vampires comic collection. I have the main series, issues 1 through 12, and the cover variants. And then the Crypt editions, and then the spin-off series, All Out War, and then the one-off Vampire Hunters. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with 4 alternate hands, totaling 6 interchangeable hands, display stand, collector's card, a sword, and a stake. But before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Robin from DC vs. Vampires. This is Damian Wayne Robin, and he's an actual vampire. So let's take a look. Starting with his head, face sculpt looks fantastic. He's got the fangs, the teeth, he's ready to bite. He's got the sort of signature Damian Wayne hair. He's got the black domino mask, but red eyes. He's got the cape on here, almost looks like a little shawl. He's got the Robin logo. He's in his traditional red and green colors. I believe this is based off the Infinite Frontier body, but we'll check that out later in the video. Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, cape going to the side. Pretty nice texturing on the outside of the cape. Very subtle, pretty well done. As a whole, I think he looks good, and it's going to be a nice addition to the Vampire collection. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I think it looks good. You can see the anger there. The teeth really sort of put over the edge. I think it's better than most of the regular Damian Wayne head sculpts. And here's the figure, broken down as far as it can go with all of his removable parts detached. Be careful when removing his hand. Mine didn't come out properly, took a little work to fix it. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's the display stand, typical McFarlane display stand. It's a black circle, very thin, very basic. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Damian Wayne as a vampire. Robin from DC vs. Vampires. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's check out his hands. He has a total of 6 of them, 3 right hands and 3 left hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his next pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And then his third pair of hands. His right hand is a big open hand, and his left hand is a pointing hand, which is interesting because I don't see the Vampire Robin doing a lot of pointing and laughing. Here's his sword. Damian Wayne often uses a sword because he's raised by League of Shadows. He's a ninja. But this sword here, this could be used to decapitate zombies. Blade looks pretty good. Handle, nice sculpting detail. Here's Damian Wayne holding this sword. He can hold it with either one hand or with 2. Now let's look at a stake. It's a wooden stake for killing vampires. The point looks pretty good. It's done in a brown and a different color for the handle, which also looks pretty good. Has good sculpting detail. So honestly, it's a very nice wooden stake. Here's Damian Wayne holding that stake. Imagine waking up in your coffin and you have this guy about to stake you, and you're wondering, why are you doing this? We're on the same side. Now I wanted to check out the reuse between this DC vs. Vampires Robin and the Infinite Frontier Robin. And like I suspected, they're done on the same body. So of course, the head is completely different. But then we have the sort of, I don't know, shawl thing here at the top, the same. The cape is the same, going to one side. Looks like the arms, a little bit different. This one has this sort of top part of the forearm. Gloves are the same. Belt is the same. Legs are the same. And the shoes are the same. So the only difference can be the head and then the forearm part here. Now I've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.2 inches tall, which can translate to just under 16 centimeters. And I do feel like this Robin's a little bit too tall compared to other figures, but, you know, it is what it is. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can't look up at all, down a pretty good amount. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, but is obstructed by this, I don't know, part of his cape or whatever that is. It only goes up about that far, a little bit further if you go to the side. He's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it is hinged as well, although the glove prevents you from getting too much out of that. His torso is one solid piece. It has soft goods overlay, and there's articulation underneath, but you're not going to get any of that to stick, so it's really wasted. He does have a ball joint at his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Now you can get the waist to crunch up and down a little bit, but like I said, none of it is going to hold. Legs, complete as the splits. McFarlane style hip joints, although there's actually balls inside of there. Rotation's non-existent. They go forward, about that much. Back, not much at all. Double jointed knees, and then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock at least a little bit, and of course, toe articulation. For this next scene, let's switch to a church type setting. Here's my church diorama with all of its extras. A closer look at Vampire Damian Wayne in the church. And like I said before, imagine waking up to Damian Wayne getting ready to stake you, interrupting your restful coffin sleep. And here's the Vampire Batman and Vampire Robin on top of a rooftop in Gotham City. The dynamic duo. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Damian Wayne Robin figures. Here's this Vampire Damian Wayne, next to the original Damian Wayne Robin figure McFarlane made. They actually made two different variations of this Damian. And here he is, next to McFarlane's Infinite Frontier Damian Wayne. This is in his new Robin suit. And they actually made three different variations of this Damian Wayne. And I guess 4 if you count this new vampire version as a variety of the Infinite Frontier Damian Wayne. He uses the majority of the same sculpt. Here are all 6 of the McFarlane DC Multiverse Damian Wayne Robin figures. Here he is, next to an artifact statue of Damian Wayne. Then, here he is, with all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Damian Wayne figures. And now, next to the recent Mezco 112 Collective Damian Wayne Robin. Then, with all of my Mattel Damian Wayne Robin figures. 2 are actual releases, and the other 2 are sort of swap parts between those 2 to make 2 additional releases. And here, next to a custom Damian Wayne Robin my wife made for me, probably 15 plus years ago. Here are absolutely all of my Damian Wayne Robin figures. I believe I have all of them in the 6 and 7 inch scale. Here he is, next to a custom 7 inch scale Damian Wayne in civilian attire that I made. And here, next to a 6 inch scale Damian Wayne civilian attire. Now let's check him out. Next is one of the McFarlane Robin figures. Here he is, next to the 2 McFarlane Dick Grayson Robins they released. One classic, and one Fighting the Frozen. And here he is, with all the McFarlane Tim Drake Robin figures. Then, with McFarlane's Carrie Kelly Robin figures. And now, next to the Dark Knight's Metal Robin Crows. Now we have a Vampire Robin, before we have a Zombie Robin, at least more or less. And finally, here he is, next to the Robin King. Although I believe this one is actually Bruce Wayne. Now let's check him out. Next to some other DC versus Vampires figures. Here he is, next to the Vampire Batman. And here he is, next to the Vampire Joker. Then, next to the Vampire Superman. And now, next to the Vampire Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Here's the entire McFarlane DC versus Vampires collection. I believe the rumor is the next one is going to be Nightwing. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Collector's Edition Wonder Woman. And here he is, next to the 3rd wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures. We have Batman as Green Lantern, The Return of Superman, and Captain Carrot. Then, next is the big bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent Aquaman and Joker. And now, next is some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures. We have the Sketch, black and white, line art, Black Manta, the Batman Deadly Duo Joker, the Patina variant of Merciless, and the Heath Ledger Interrogation Room Joker. Here's Damian Wayne, next to the Batman and Robin movie wave, collective build on Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze, and here he is, next to some recent Target exclusive figures, Midnighter and Wave Rider. Then, next to the Target exclusive Flashpoint wave, collective build Cyborg. And now, with some recent Amazon releases, we have the glow-in-the-dark variations of the Infected Batman, Titan Joker, Swamp Thing, and Jon Stewart. Here's Robin, next to the second wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and the Platinum Chase variants of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. And here he is, with some recent Entertainment Earth exclusive figures, Blacklight Batman on the left, and some line art sketch figures on the right. Then, next to the Injustice 2 Superman, and both versions of Brainiac. And now, with the Last Night on Earth, Batman vs. Omega 2-pack. And finally, next to the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and both versions of the Jim Gordon Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which ones you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I know he's a little bit shorter, as he's a much younger character. I'm going to start my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all McFarlane toys, and all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys, here's Robin, next to a dinner roll. And here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with both some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH figure arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a cool Damian Wayne figure. He looks kind of cartoonish. He's so colorful. The way McFarlane always does a Damian Wayne head, I don't know, it just looks a little sort of animated. It's a cool figure. It's not necessary for the collection by any means, but I'm starting to really like the vampire stuff. I hope they go further and further and further into it. I think it looks good. He has the fangs, the mouth is open, but it is a lot of just simple reuse. That being said, this is kind of a reuse that I would prefer to unpainted or line art editions, that sort of stuff. This at least has a theme, has a gimmick, and it's just kind of cool. His articulation, it's definitely better than the first Damian Wayne figure. It has double joints on both parts. His accessories, the stake, the sword, they're pretty good. A ton of hands. He's a smaller figure, so I guess he comes with some extra stuff. If I were to rate this guy, I'm probably going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe I'm kind of undershooting it. He's not going to get a ton of use from action figure world, maybe for a Halloween video, but he's going to be really cool with the other vampire figures. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.